we shift it back to our personal inquiry. Then in this aspect of the meeting, we get to really look at how we are then victimized by our relationship to a particular state or emotion. I don't know any human being who's never experienced any hate. I know there are people who experience being free of hate, but I'm not suggesting that that's your assignment, that you need to be free of hate to be free. I'm suggesting that you can open, I'm always suggesting, that you can open to whatever appears, including hate, which is like the devil, the monster. You can open to that, unmoving, without following the temptation to tell a story of either what you need to go to war with or how you are being warred against. So to give up your story of perpetrator and victim. Because our superego operates, and the superego, in the way I use it, just simply means that voice of authority that's telling you you're good or you're bad, or they are good or they are bad. And often our superego operates either as a bully, the perpetrator, pushing, knowing what's right, pushing against all those other aspects of yourself or other, or as the weak victim, being pushed by yourself, or being pushed by others, or being pushed by reality itself, so that it's poor me. And yet that poor me is not a poor me of surrender in the way that I'm speaking of it. It's a poor me as just waiting for the chance to strike back, to become the bully, so that the bully and the victim are a cycle, and they shift roles. I just invite you to look for yourself and see if that's true. Of course, the bully and the victim are all only existing in the story that goes along with or is attached to the emotion. So in the willingness to recognize the story without following it for a moment, then you have an opportunity to recognize what's deeper than the story, which may be what we call hate or anger or fear or despair. So when we read in history of horrible acts that have happened throughout history, and we recognize or hear in our present time of terrible things happening everywhere. New Zealand was spotlighted the last couple of days, but clearly there are horrible things happening in neighborhoods and countries and war zones and all over. I would say in every country, in every city, in every town, there's something horrible happening. And we, as those who are privileged enough to be free enough to be able to attend the possibility of actually discovering within ourselves what is also existing in others, and to meet it within ourselves with maturity and openness, without punishment, without war, without being a bully, without being a victim, then at least we are contributing to the spaciousness that is at the core of everything, the spaciousness that is life, because these acts of terrorism don't happen out of life. They happen in life. Your body has happened in life. Your body ends, life is still here. So let us serve life by our own personal life's inquiry into what is here. And when we are speaking about being victims of our own self-hatred, our self-victimization, we surely can recognize that as unnecessary suffering. We can be victimized by events, by other people, by diseases. But when we are victimizing ourselves by the stories we tell ourselves, by our unwillingness to open to whatever emotion is present, whether we think it should be there or it shouldn't be there, that we open to it, then there is this unnecessary burden. And if you are carrying that unnecessary burden, your willingness to recognize it is the essential aspect. Because in your recognition that you are victimizing yourself, however it started, let's say it started with someone else victimizing you, and legitimately you know that that aspect of the story is accurate. But when you now contribute to your self-victimization, to self-punishment, this has no excuse, finally. This is an absolutely unnecessary burden. There's nothing that can be learned from it. There's no way that can teach you what you need to do next. We often remember stories of being victimized or stories of danger so that we can not go into that place of danger or a place where we will be victimized with others again. It's intelligent. It's how stories teach us, one of the many ways that stories teach us. But when our stories have turned into self-victimization, self-hatred, the teaching stops. It is just punishment and just war. So I really invite you to be willing to see, to recognize that hatred arises, and then, as with any emotion, what do you do with that? Do you hate the power that you have? Do you hate the weakness that you have? Do you hate other because of the power they have or the weaknesses they have? Do you hate death? And if you hate yourself, even because you will die or because you have pain, then you are putting yourself in hell. Self-inquiry and this invitation that I bring you from Papaji and Ramana and from all awakened teachers is that the doorway out of hell is present. It's here. You don't have to go anywhere for it. You simply have to recognize how you keep avoiding the door or closing the door or running from the door out of fear or hatred or whatever excuse the mind can generate, and to stop. That we meet here for the purpose of supporting your discovery of your capacity to stop. And in the discovery of that capacity, the capacity itself is enlarged. So I definitely want to hear from you, because I want to see how this plays out individually, because of course that helps us all, since we all have all the patterns of hatred and hatred of others. We all have this contagion or this disease. And to the degree that we can recognize it, then we are inviting health, the health of the spirit, the emotional health, the health of the body, the health of the neighborhood, of the country, of the world, of the planet. So may our conversation contribute to that health, that all being may be happy, all being may live in peace, all groups of being, all individual being.